how many people you affect. Neither do I, because we put ourselves out there. And, as long as we're willing to put ourselves out there and know that some people are going to love it and most are going to like it and some are going to hate it. And some of them are going to try to destroy you from whichever angle they got. But again, like I told you earlier, that's their problem. That's not yours. That's not mine. Should never be a factor in any decision you make. Mikey's, the Aggie Eagle Classics today, and Central signed him as a snapper, deep snapper, and he went and he's traveled every week because he's been the backup snapper, and then they couldn't find a holder, and he said, I can do that. So he's been holding for every game. So the man's on the field playing in his first year at D1 FCS school. That's pretty impressive,
Definitely. And I'm super proud of him.
Oh, well, yeah, proud of him. I'll always be proud of him. Happy for him. He really wanted this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember seeing that he was posting about it. He was having some problems with his other school. So I'm glad to see that everything got worked out where now he's with NC Central. So that's amazing.
Yeah, that was disappointing. He went to kindergarten in Pembroke. And when we were still living down on the farm, first 4 or 5 months at Byrd, I was living in Mom and Dad's house. We'd taken that over, and I was driving about an hour a day. So, so when I took everybody home on those nights and dropped them off, I was ready to roll. But anyway, that was a great time. But yeah, Mikey's doing well. He wants to go into cybersecurity, and good Lord, as you know, anything with tech is just exploding right now with opportunity.
Amen with that. I'll say it's funny when I started off here, episode 1 a year ago with you, I wasn't tech savvy at all. Now, I've gotten so much better with my editing skills. I mean, I'm nowhere near a pro, but it's just crazy the world of tech, where it could take you. Because I got people hit me up like, oh man, great editing on that, or do this. And I'm like, I'm doing the bare minimum because I'm learning as I go.
I'm telling you, when I was a teenager, we had a gas station on the farm to get farm chemicals and fertilizer and all that stuff wholesale. Mm-hmm. And, out there you pump a lot of gas, meet a lot of different people. But anyway, it's a little like that. But anyway, yeah, they wanted to hold him to something that only existed there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. Just got bad news about a big nose guard last night. Okay. Cool.
I'm sorry to hear that, Coach.
Wow. Yeah, he was well, he's already signed he's committed to Liberty. And, anyway, well, we'll see. Mm-hmm. Torn ligaments, stuff like that. Those are really, you can't really see it and diagnose it for sure till there's an MRI. So I always wait for the MRI because right now everybody assumes the worst medically. It's just the society and we're living in. So,
yeah, 100% true.
But yeah,
I'm sorry, Cole. I think we just jumped into it and started talking. I didn't even give you the proper introduction and everything. So,
well, because of you and the popularity of your podcast, I think everybody knows who I
am. True that. That is very true. I mean, man, from episode 1, it's crazy to think it was a year ago, because when we recorded that, Coach, that was like pre-COVID. Like that was before all this stuff happened. It was just crazy. And then seeing the popularity of the show, I mean, your episode really helped take off from all the viewers from Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. So I just want to give a big thanks to all my audience, my peeps out here that have checked out the episode, sending all these questions. I mean, it was amazing. And now we're back, do it again. It was so nice. We got to do it twice. Coach Stone returns.
I always enjoy talking to just about anyone that will listen and share similar interests. And Hey, you've been around me enough. I'm passionate about what I do. So
Yes,
it's both a blessing and a curse, believe it or not.
yes, sir. So we covered in our first interview, we covered almost your entire career, not everything, but almost your entire career. So I thought maybe starting off would be where we last left off was right
Oh,
before
sure,
the
sure.
20.
This won't take long.
So last we left off, we were entering into your fourth season at Hickory, but this is when things got really crazy with COVID and season getting shrunk down to, I believe, it was 7 games. So if you want to talk about your experience during that whole crazy COVID era.
Um, for me, it was a bit disastrous, like it was for so many people.
Mhm.
As you can see in the picture with the gray hair and the wrinkles, I'm an older American right now, so I pretty much stayed to myself. I don't know, Alvin. I've had some really close friends die in the last 2 months from this stuff, and none of them would take the vaccine, and that's certainly their right. But it was heartbreaking to see them then pass away from this crap. But uh, football wise, again, I was a bit of a hermit. I was trying to stay alive and trying to stay healthy, and I tried to do all those things that scientists told us to do. So that included me not getting out in public as much. I really like meeting people and talking to them about our program and what we try to do and what we think we can do with it. And without that, and then we had a really tough season. Uh, uh, that was almost heartbreaking. My whole offensive line, Jake Milligan, God bless him,
Mhm.
who you and I both know really well,
Yep. Shout out to Jake.
was our O-line coach. And by the time we played the second game, none of them were standing except one sophomore center. All of them had gotten hurt. And we couldn't replace those here. The year before, I'd kind of done a little bit of a card trick with quarterbacks because so many of them had gotten hurt, and they were always special athletes around here, still are. But big guys, not many, and even fewer wanted to play. So anyway, again, we didn't win a game. It was a really tough season. It started off in a strange way for us as we were working out, and our basketball team went to the third round, and so
Impressive.
they're playing their game on Thursday night. They're supposed to play for me the following night, and and they played Mount Tabor, and Mount Tabor was eventual state champ. They really embarrassed our kids, beat them by about 55 points. And 7 of my skilled players were playing basketball. So the next night we played a team we should have won, and we didn't play well. I didn't coach well. It's the sum of all parts. But we lost to McDowell, which should have been a win for us. Not making excuses for myself because I always think I should get the job done. But for our young people, Hickory is a school of about 970 kids. We get 300 more because of it's called HCAM. It's an arts program magnet that's really on the edge of Lenore Ryan's campus. And those kids are actually enrolled with Hickory Highschool. And so that bumps us into 3A. And our league last year, only one other team we played with didn't go up to 4A. So we were fighting an uphill battle, but again, I should have figured out how to get it done and didn't. And so for the first time in my life, I had a winless year. And I do what I always do when we're not successful. I soul search and try to find it. But then I saw the real problem. Actually, there were 7 seniors on that football team, and 4 of them were, God bless them, hardworking, average kids. So that last game, we ended up starting 7 freshmen and 6 sophomores, and they're all back this year, and I think they've won 2 games so far with another coach. Now, like that, I offered to resign. I'd gotten a new principal and a new superintendent over summer, so you've seen me go through that song and dance before. Those folks want their own people. So she didn't take my resignation then. I met with her a week later, and she asked me for it, and I told her what I tell everybody: if I'm not wanted, I'll move on. But this one was tough. I just told her, I said, honestly, I just with the year of COVID, this is not one I'm comfortable leaving right now. But again, they actually hired a good friend of mine, Joe Glass, and he's got the old staff and the team from last year. Meanwhile, I've joined the real football world again at Butler High School, and
I was just gonna ask you about that. Yep.
Well, that's really that was a double-edged sword for me. The job in Hickory, but again, it's kind of not what happens to you. It's kind of how you react to it. And at first, I was upset, a little mad, and I said, "Dang, I offered to do this last week, and it was so late in the year." But Tripp's over at Butler, and he's their defense coordinator. In all honesty, his career has really taken off since he worked for me. He's turned down some head jobs that were good decisions because they weren't strong programs. So after the deal at Mallard Creek, now there's one for you just to tell you how high school coaches live. They hadn't lost a regular season game in 3 years. Ooh. And their only negative factor was this: every year, about the end of July, 5 or 6 All-Americans would show up from someplace all over the world. And meanwhile, Alvin and Russell had to go sit down and play. And so again, they had 2 years in a row where they lost second round playoff games. And Coach Palmieri had a chance to go to Georgia. Tripp went into the Mallard Creek. He really wanted that job, and I wanted it for him. I wanted to go over there and coach there. But when he went into the interview, he quickly found they were looking for a new direction. And so I think 2 days later, the Butler people got in touch with him and really offered him everything that he could possibly want. And so he was there, and where one stone goes, the other one follows. Right now, instead of him being my son, I'm now Coach Stone's dad. So hey, you rock and roll with it. But again, I tell you, Alvin, the thing that really kind of dug me is we had a kid at Byrd named Rico Walker, and as an 8th grader, he was about 6'4", 170, 175. And he'd got, I talked him into going to a combine that actually Tripp had a major role in at Mallard Creek before he left. And so in the 8th grade, we got him national exposure. And then in the 9th grade here, he played for us as a JV/8 quarter kid. And I sent some JV film out, and I sent him standing up with his arm span the size of his hand. And a month later, he had 10 Power 5 offers.
Yep. I mean, we talked about that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, since then, it's just exploded. Now everywhere in the country's offered him. I don't know if Alabama has yet. I was real happy to see Georgia jump in on it, but I missed that. Having that. I thought that was the player that would give us a spotlight where we could really go from here. And I was wrong. But getting over to Butler, Alvin, and getting back to, like I said, a serious football setting, the kids at Hickory, they played multiple sports, and I love it. I was a 3-sport athlete, but they would always have a sport where they played and they traveled in, and none of them did that for football. And, it kind of cuts into some time and some perspiration. And I've always told you guys at Byrd, if you want to be a good football player, you got to play more football. Yep. You got to get out of the game. And that was really the secret for you guys at Byrd. You knew after February 1st, I was going to do some football related activity, and all the assistants would be there, and Tripp and I would be in there yelling and screaming like idiots, and just get after it. So we did a good job of developing players, and I think that's the difference there now. Is
for the record, Coach, those are some of the best times I've had.
Yeah, it was great. That's what I tell people all the time around here. They said, tell me about Byrd. And I said, well, if I walked through the gym and there were 6 basketballs out, 5 basketball games going, and I held up a football, went outside, everybody leave the gym and come with me. And so Hickory is a huge AAU site for national tournaments, and they've gotten that exposure there. But I had trouble getting the athletes. Again, 900 kids. There's 27 sports here. They play lacrosse, and a lot of we have All-Americans in swimming constantly. So it really depends year to year to school like this where the good athletes end up in, and that always goes back to youth programs. But this past year, like I said, our basketball team was Western Finals, and our soccer team was in the finals with a huge senior class. So this was a group where a lot of the other athletes chose other sports when they were younger. Again, choice, setting, it's all about timing. So again, went over to Butler. Coach Brian Hales has been tremendous to me. He offense coordinates just like I do when I'm the head coach, and so certainly I understood where he was coming from. And basically, folks like us who have been successful doing what we do, we have something and we want to adjust it to our talent, and then we want to kind of let it go in the direction and in the vision we have. And we want input, but we'll consider it. We might move on with it and try it, or we might go without it. And so I didn't want to breach those boundaries with him. And I told him from the beginning, I said, it's your offense, man. I said, we'll get the goals, we'll do it, and then I'll go upstairs on Friday night. I said, it's kind of easy up there, actually. It's almost like cheating. And, I'll assist you in calling your game. And so that's what we've done. It was great. We opened the season. Of course, we got COVIDed out. Mallard Creek wouldn't play. So on Thursday, Oceanside Prep in Charleston, South Carolina, and I got together with us. And in short, we played 2 days later on Saturday. And
wow.
Yeah, it was a typical hot day. It's not as hot as Fayetteville, but it gets warm in Charlotte too. And so they showed up on Saturday afternoon, and they had about 35 football players. Now they were good players. They were, they were all guys that had reclassed and are trying to redo their senior year. And so they were very talented. But by the end of the first quarter, I think we were up 21-0, and then it was 40 at half. And those are good old days. That's what I'm used to. The real deal, though, is our Butler defense, and Tripp is the D coordinator. They have been tremendous, just out of sight. Richmond County got us a little bit. We had that game won, and we fumbled with 2 minutes to go. And then Hood, their quarterback, and Coach Till, who's a friend of mine from Fayetteville, he made just 3 great individual plays in that game, and they all resulted in touchdowns. And so we lost to them 32-29. And it was a game at Memorial Stadium, downtown Charlotte, and they have completely refurbished it. And it is a beautiful sight. I think they actually built it for the soccer team in Charlotte. And that's the only detriment. It's the turf. It's a lot harder and firmer, and we slipped. And I'm not a huge artificial turf fan, except you don't have to paint it. So I thought that was a little bit disappointing there. There were a lot of great athletes out there slipping and looking for footing on both sides. But anyway, that was just a great game for high school football. And like I said, we came up short. And then we went to St. John's University Prep in Washington, D.C. for an invitation game. And I'm going to tell you, Alvin, that is the best looking football team I've seen since probably 2011, where we had Lawrence Dixon at 6'8" on one tackle. I mean, we were just prototypical across the front. Gennard was out there. No, that was 210. So anyway, right in there, but we were prototypical. They had 6'4" receivers, 6'2" corners. And so the worm turned on us a little bit. We rolled up there. we drove all. It's kind of like arena ball used to be. We drove. We left at 4 a.m. and we got there and we practiced, and then the next day we played. We got down 21. We snapped the ball over the punter's head, gave up a kickoff return, and had a short drive after a fumble. So we got down 21-0. But again, our defense, even against that talent, they stopped them all night, all day long. We just offensively we had trouble matching up front. They had 4 D1 guys playing defensive line, and they didn't disappoint. And so it was a great experience for us. Our team bonded, the whole deal. They went to the monuments after the game and did that. And after you've lost a game, that's a little bit of a letdown. But so many of them hadn't seen it before. So that turned out to be a blessing as far as team building and bonding. And then, again, like the Byrd days, we had a team coming in here that just couldn't compete with us man to man. And Erringer High School. And they played hard all night long, just like you saw some of our opponents play like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we played with honor and intensity and beat them 70-0. And, again, though, we blocked the punt for a touchdown. We turned 2 pick sixes. And it was 21-0 that night before we got the ball. We're up 3 touchdowns and the defense has done it all. Anyway, we're a little bit last night. We played a better competition. We lost a game with Porter Ridge in the middle there to COVID. The Washington trip for Butler was a blessing because everyone had to get a shot, had to get vaccinated or get tested to go to into DC, which is where the school is. And it was a local requirement. So knock on wood, we haven't had a case since this season started at all. And
awesome. That's a blessing.
Well, again, I'm not criticizing anybody's choices, but I'm an educated man. I went to college, and I believe in research and scientific, and I guess some people don't trust it. But Alvin, I'll tell you, when I was 5 years old, we had mandatory vaccinations for the entire country. And so after church, everybody drove down to the local high school and ate a lump of sugar, and that was your polio vaccine on it. Then I had a grandfather who had tuberculosis. I got some crazy big shot for that as an 8-year-old, and that one about killed me. I thought just because it was so big. It was like a shingle shot. You got a 10-penny nail up there or something. But anyway, so I had to get vaccinated for that. And then, you go to school and you get those shots that swell up on your arm and all that.
Yep.
Go to college, they make them get you again. Again, what we're getting at here is the idiocy of I guess, political clans.
Yeah,
So,
the lack of trust. I think that's what is really killing, I guess, the progress of this whole thing. Because when people I've talked to and my job and all over, like, that's the thing. Is like they don't trust, what is in this vaccine, or they don't trust the government, or they don't trust, this whole thing. And then you got some that are like, just take it. So it's really up in the air depending on people.
tell them just to check how many people died from that stuff. I like I said, I had 3 friends die from it. A dear friend, Mr. Ardeen Hunt, in Robinson County community, was the athletic director with Coach Joe Twitty, was the principal when they opened South Robinson High School back in the early 80s. And he was one of those guys who's a Lumbee Indian. In Robinson County, you got a 3-way split. And he and a bunch of people that worked with him were instrumental in getting the Indian schools to acclimate and accept and come in. So, for me, high school coaching early on, I was with 2 giants who had been ADs and successful coaches, and then they were administrators. So they really helped me get off to a great start. But anyway, he passed with it. And the only friend I have that had it was Coach Adrian Snow at West Forsyth. And he was, he never went on the ventilator, thank God. He told me later that the doctor told him if they had to put him on a ventilator, his chances of surviving were 8 to 10% max. But he had to miss 3 games, and he's still trying to get over it. So we're talking about something that it's either going to kill you or knock you flat on your back where you can't function. But you talked about lack of trust. Let's face it, man. Lack of trust is a BS reason. They're politically against it. They feel like, government's running their life and telling them what to do. And, big deal. I get a Social Security check every month, man. I mean, daggum, where's that come from?
Oh, man, Coach. So,
anyway, short, to cut my rambling off, I didn't get it done at Hickory, and I left an excellent team for them. Every kid that started last night for Hickory was starting in my last game this year, except 7 of them are now sophomores and 13 of them now are juniors. So, here, unlike Byrd, when I got to Byrd, those players returning were so hungry to get back on the right track. They were so tired of not being successful and not feeling great about playing. And, so they really did the job for us as far as taking what we offer and making the best of it. So, I didn't get that passion and that commitment at Hickory from enough players. I got it from quite a few, but football's a numbers game. So, again, it didn't end well. I wasn't happy about it. The big deal is I just really enjoy living in the city and living up this way. So my wife is a real estate family lady who grew up in the DC area and moved 42 times in their lifetime. And so God has blessed me so wonderfully to be able to have a partner like her who understands this business and tries to roll with the punches with us. So right now we have a down payment on the house in Charlotte. We're trying to get this one over the finish line as far as getting it bought and sold. And so it's a little bit of a different time there. But meanwhile, I'm driving to Butler every day. It's an hour, 30 minutes. Well, actually, it depends on what time of day with Charlotte. It's an hour 9 if you go early in the morning or late at night. But during business day, it's about an hour and a half. So, I've only had 1 accident so far. God bless.
Yeah, God bless you.
But anyway,
you enjoying Charlotte, Coach?
Yeah, we're moving. It's I don't know. Charlotte's a bunch of small communities, but it's just growing so fast. So it's over in the Mallard Creek area, which is kind of on the northeast side of Charlotte. It's really just new and exploding. I tell you, if you go to Charlotte right now and you hadn't been in 2 years, you wouldn't believe what's there. If you hadn't been in 10 years, you will be shocked. It's just so big, and there's so many people right there right now. There's so many things to do, and people your age are getting tons of opportunity. And with the large population base, everybody's wages is much higher. And if they weren't higher, you wouldn't be able to afford to live there. But cost of living is not too much different. The cost of housing is different. Right now, there's a housing shortage, and you can sell them, but either you're going to be homeless or live down by the river in a van until you find another one. So we've been dealing with that as we transitioned. The eventual plan behind all this is when I get to Charlotte, we'll be about 15, 20 minutes from where Tripp's family is living. So we'll take a bigger part in making him helping get his daughter back and forth to school. Turquoise, Chloe and Mykah's mom is an IT person that works 3rd shift. So, Tripp has to hustle to get it done. So Chloe, his daughter, is 10 now, going on 25. And she's just a beautiful girl. She's into dancing and has achieved many things on a national level. She's got her granddad's flexibility, Now, flexibility gets you in trouble, but I've got 2 fake hips, of course. But God, she's a wonderful dancer. So, and then Mykah's playing at Central. My family in Ohio with my beautiful daughter Jessica has blessed us with twins in the last 4 months.
Congrats.
And yeah, a boy and a girl. And
Awesome.
unbelievable blessing. She has 2 older sons. One is 2, and he's a jagged piece of Hades. And then brother Jack is 6. Melissa has bought a house. My baby girl's bought a house here in Hickory. She still works at the high school. She was working there. She was on my staff. She really did a lot of auxiliary things that help add to the program and make sure the kids were being fed and doing what they were doing in school. So she's kind of been stuck there since I left. And then she chose to buy a house, which at the time looked like a good investment before we knew we were going to leave in a couple of months. So she and her husband have finalized her divorce, and she's dating a wonderful young man who's actually an assistant football coach at Towson University, Justin Harper. He played for Virginia Tech and he played for the Ravens. And so, I don't know where that's going. You have to talk to them about that. But they've got the football relationship. She's here and he's there and working, and they get together and see each other when they can. But
awesome.
So family is immediate family is wonderful, healthy. We're blessed. We're blessed. And sometimes when you run into bad luck, you get the false impression that, God, why me? Or, you're going through all this. And then of course, you see a friend that's had 13 years brain cancer, and he's finally going to let it go and stop the fight because he's so tired. And you just wonder, good Lord, what am I worried about? A freaking job. I mean, it's sometimes becomes small potatoes, even though it's a huge part of my life.
Amen. And speaking of your life, Coach, I mean, we talked before where you have over 40 years of coaching experience, sending over 300 kids to colleges. You've done so much in your career, playoff games, championships. So the question is, what keeps you going? What keeps you so motivated?
I think that might be a question that my wife's trying to figure out.
We can bring her on the show too.
honestly, it's just what you think it is. I love the interaction with my players. I love the challenge of coaching the game. It's just is my passion. It's what I love to do.
Amen.
If I was talented enough to play, I'd have played for a while. But that didn't work out. And so the next best avenue was doing what I'm doing. And, it's like I told somebody the other day, my dad wanted me to be a farmer bad. And he had a great business, great farm business, a lot of rented land and farms he was tended. And when he was 80, he said, "Daggum boy, I'd have made you rich by now. But you wanted to play ball." And I said, "Dad, I coach." He said, "Same thing." So Dad was a hard guy. But anyway, like I said, we're truly blessed and happy, and we hope we can get settled and relocated in Charlotte. On to the next opportunity. I bring what I bring, and most people enjoy it, and the players love playing for me, and it irritates some other people, and that's their problem. It's not mine. So I love the whole deal. I love seeing young people come in as ninth graders and watch them fight through the struggles of teenagers, and work hard, give themselves a chance to be good players, and work at it. And honestly, if you do those things in high school, you're going to be successful. That's what Hickory taught me. That you can't get everywhere to do it. You can't get all your kids in weight training. And most of my football team at Hickory were AP students or Lenore Ryan early college students. So, they're doing that and playing 3 sports. So I really wanted them to make a time during the school day, because we offer weight training there daily. But like I said, some administrators are really, really cooperative and go out of their way to make sure that has a chance to be as successful as possible. And it doesn't mean something to some other folks. So the job of football coach starts in the principal's office in that chair. So, whatever they want for your program is probably what will happen. And so anyway, again, I'm looking forward to next week's game against East Meck. But like I told you, East Meck is just like Garinger. It won't be competitive. We know that today. We'll know it Friday. And, then we'll come back with Charlotte Catholic, which will probably be for the conference championship here. But we also have to go through Huff. So we are we've got a huge challenge in front of us. And like I said, we lost 2 big players last night, so that'll be a challenge. But I relish it. I love the challenge of coaching on Friday night. Everybody's got everything. You got game films, you got study. I got game films. I've studied. I'm trying to figure out your tendencies. You're trying to figure out mine. And then on Friday night, it's just a lot of adjusting if Plan A doesn't work. So I'm still doing what I love. God bless my wife for letting me do it, and I'll keep going. And so I really don't think I'll get another opportunity as a head coach. Who knows? I didn't think I'd get one at Hickory back in public school, but they got me out of retirement, called, and again, that superintendent just retired and moved on, and he was a real blessing, Dr. Robbie Adele. But honestly, Alvin, whenever a principal or one high school system like this, administratively, and I ain't from here. So anyway, I'm going to Charlotte where a couple million other people go, and really excited about it.
Excited for you too, Coach. And you never know where the future may hold. I hope you get another head coaching job. If not, I know you're finding peace no matter where you fit in on the football field.
Well, that again is a personal decision. I'm ready. I'm available. I'm ready to work at it. I prepared just like I did when I coached you guys. And so I'm going into every game on Friday night, ready to assist and help us win in any way I can on both sides of the ball. But I tell you, I'm up high and I'm watching Tripp run his defense and the things he's doing. And as a dad, it's unbelievably fulfilling. And it's fun to be on the sideline with him again. So
I was going to ask you about Coach Tripp too, because I love Coach Tripp, man. And shout out to you, Coach Tripp, if you watch this. What's it like reuniting with Coach Tripp again?
Wonderful. It's again a blessing. I know people say you can't be your kids' friends, but Tripp and I are very close friends, along with being a father, a grandfather, and the past between us. He's been on the sideline with me since he was 2, and good Lord, we did it to Mykah, and he's kind of got this disease too. But yeah, disease. it is wonderful joy to be back with him and to watch him work and how much he's grown since I coached with him, and then I go in the weight room and he's doing the same things with them I did with you guys, and so again, just really, really happy and blessed to be at this stage. And I really think, like I told you earlier, the grand scheme is he'll take a program very soon and get the opportunity that's right for him. And I'll go back over as his offensive coordinator and call it plays on Friday night. And I do miss that. But again, everything is outweighed by the fact that I get to be reunited with him in some fashion. And like I told you before we started, everybody said that's Coach Stone's son for about 30 years. And now they look at me and say, that's Tripp's dad. Coach Stone's dad over there. So, anyway, like all crazy old relatives, they put me upstairs with a guy named Mike Middleton, who's a little younger than me, but we both have a lot of experience. And so, we have a good time up there. He's an O-line guy, and I kind of look after the total scheme. And he was a long-time assistant and played at Charlotte Catholic, so he's got a lot of football in him. And anyway, he's a low-key, quiet guy, so we have a good time up there while we're trying to help assist the Butler Bulldogs. So I'm red and black for all state fans out there. Hey. Bright red's first time I've been there. I sported the Cardinal gold with great pride at 3 other schools, but this one's red and black. So I've got some NC State friends that tell me that's why I should have been dressing all along. I'm a Carolina alum. So again, and just talking to you today is a blessing. So
the shows a blessing too, Coach.
Well, look, man, it's all about watching people like you grow up and being adults. And the first group of players I coached in 1979, they're retiring now, and I'm going back to be part of their retirement ceremonies. And I will, as long as the good Lord blesses me with reasonable health, and I don't go cuckoo up top, and I'm a crazy guy upstairs. I'll continue to do this as long as there's opportunity. So it's just what I do. I told people all along I was a football coach, and I have to teach so I can be a football coach. Well, now I can be a football coach without really teaching, and can retire and support my family. And the teachers are treated like crap in North Carolina now. I was blessed to come along when I did, because we had so much more real wealth through the money they paid us, and so much more prestige, and so many more boots on the ground. They're just this North Carolina's public school system in the last 10 years has fired about 27% of the staff they had, and that sounds a little bit weird. Meanwhile, enrollment grows 15% yearly. So we're in a climate now where privatization of education is big with the Republican base in our state. I think it's about the worst thing you could do to human beings right now, go backwards and resegregate. And a lot of times now it's more economic resegregation, segregation, but it doesn't matter. It took us so long to get over the hump. And, I feel passionately about getting the message out that I guess my generation learned, where if we could get along with each other, it's a beautiful world, and we can achieve some great things. And being separate or assuming superiority or looking down on any human being is to me a true mortal sin. So I'm doing my best with the help of a wonderful family and the Lord above. And I just want to continue doing this. An older friend of mine asked me the same question about why you do this. And I just said, well, I think I can help, and I enjoy it.
You sure do. You sure do help.
Hey, man. So I'm going to try to keep helping as long as people let me. And this wonderful lady here will stick with me. So rock on.
I was gonna say you've been helping me since, let's see, I played for you when I was about 15, 16. Yeah, 26 now going on. So you've changed my life dramatically, and many others. I ran into some kids who actually, no, not kids, God, I guess the kids were all the same age, but old teammates that we played at Byrd. And we always just take pride about how hard we worked and how much we loved you and Coach Tripp and Clinton and all those guys out there that really helped impact our lives. So thank you again, Coach, for that.
You can't forget that staff we had there. Again, coming up here, I truly learned to appreciate it. Those men worked all day long in a job to support their family, and anytime I opened the door, they were right there with you, fellas. That was that's just so professionally fulfilling and such a pleasure to watch. And we really helped that community. And, we really could take care of some people that needed it, and we could provide opportunity to others and guidance to some who didn't need any material kind of help. So that was one of my last breaths. I'll see you guys coming out the banner that the cheerleaders worked all hard and had a theme, and smoke. I couldn't get Hickory and smoke in 4 years. It drove me nuts. I finally did. We did fire grenades the last year I was here, and everybody hated it. So, but they did say it encouraged them to keep their mask up. So, but Alvin, again, that's really why I love to do it. That's why I want to do it. I think God gave me a purpose to do it. Why else would He keep something like me going? And again, I'm not a real religious person. I don't wear it on my sleeve. I had a deep faith. Basically, I believe in Jesus Christ saved us from our sins, and the good Lord created us in some form or fashion a couple of billion years ago. So it's just amazing to me in my lifetime to see where society has gone from party lines to what we're doing now. I mean, when I was in high school, I had to fight 3 older aunts for phone to call my girlfriend or anything else, And so when I call them, they'd pick up and listen. But again, to see the technological gains, it's just been, for me, mesmerizing. It really has. I'm still trying to figure out how you and I are staring at each other, and how does that TV signal get from there to this box? And these guys look like they're playing right in front of us. It's a wonderful time to be at live. There's football on all day today, all day tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
What could you ask for? The weather's finally getting out of the Sahara Desert feel.
Shout out the fall. I love the fall weather.
Oh God, yes, wonderful. I told you, see you in your fall garb a little bit. Got the sleeves on, looking warm and comfy. That's Albert.
Oh yeah.
A really close friend of yours, Jake Milligan, is still. He has a little girl now, and since I left, he's really working at trying to get to school and being the best dad he can. He wants to coach for his career too. Right now, his career is taking off with Chick-fil-A. He's a manager now and a shift manager and all that stuff. And I did notice they keep him back there cooking. They don't let him out front where people have to look and talk to him. But again, he and Melissa, my baby girl, leaving them behind is bittersweet. So hopefully we can find. There's plenty of opportunity in Charlotte. I mean, anything you want to do is available right now in that city. Mm-hmm. They can't get enough people to fill all the spots. So hopefully I can figure out a way to get them over there with us. Coach Clanton came up to watch the Richmond game. I'd like to get him to relocate up here. He's talked about it and looked into it. And now his sons are grown. So who knows? We might get the whole band back together at some school.
Fingers crossed, we get a big reunion.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And when that happens, God bless. We're going to put out an all call and get you guys up here to be our special guest and see how many of you stand on the sidelines and make it look too crowded and really get the band back together. But it's let's face it, man. Recreating the past is dangerous and kind of a little bit crazy. You can't go back. I mean, all we got is this second right now we're sharing. And again, have faith and doing the best you can and looking for opportunity and just doing it with everything you got. I don't care what it is. That's the secret to success.
Definitely, Coach, 100%. I just got a few more questions I want to throw to you, Coach, that like just kind of like hot topic for coaches. So I know a lot of people that reach out to me on Facebook that would love to hear your opinion on some of these. So
sure.
We'll start off with, what's your favorite sports movie of all time?
I kind of got to get the 3. I'm my favorite sports movie of all time. I love The Natural and The Net Lesson, and also it's the last one I watched. I love The Program because at that time it was made, it was really right on the pulse. That's the way college football was. It was so dependent upon money and recruiting inducements, and that was that was a lot of fun, especially to share with my players and getting them ready to go. Mm-hmm. Those are great. And then the other one will throw you a little bit. Cinderella Man.
Okay.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's a classic right there.
Follow the message. And my favorite part of that movie is he's fighting a guy, it's a young black man, and the corner's got the young black man over there, and he says, "Man, you killed this guy last time. You knocked him out." And the guy looks up at him and said, "It ain't the same guy." Again, just the whole message of that movie is unreal. And I taught a coaching class at Byrd the first couple of years I was there with Miss Jackie Warner, and it was fundamentals of coaching. And we watched every sports movie on the planet, and and we critique it and see what style of coaching did that guy use. And Glory Road's another one that's just, I would have trouble not mentioning if we're talking about favorite movies, because it reflected that time in history when I was 9 to 13 years old, and the change just seemed fair to me. Again, I grew up on a farm. My dad believed in working, so I worked every day during the summer with a lot of folks that didn't look like me. And we worked hard, and it was a blessing to be around them. And then at the end of the day, as a 13-year-old, I'd take them home on a truck defying the law. And but here's the deal. I got to go home and go to a hot shower and a wonderful meal my mom would prepare somehow daily with all her chores. And
that famous sweet tea, right?
Yeah, a cool place to sleep at night. And meanwhile, I dropped off some friends that I'd spent 10 hours with, and we were very close friends, and a lot of them went to school with me. And then when I was coaching early on, I'd get fellas like you to come help us work on the farm. But again, they went inside a place where in many cases they didn't have running water inside. And again, I don't know why, but that hit me right in the heart and stuck with me forever. So I think, again, I talked to you about this the first time I rambled for an hour. I believe every kid deserves an opportunity, and that's my goal in life, to give as many young folks an opportunity as possible.
Amen to that, Coach. And I mentioned the sweet tea because that was actually one of many people, they were messaging me saying that was one of their favorite parts. They loved the whole interview, but they said the part where he said your mom used to make sweet tea so sweet that you could chew
it. Yeah, that's right. And it took me, like I said, it took me 3 years, but there's no sugar in this. So like Ted says, it's just dirty water. Yeah.
Another hot topic one is, in your opinion, Coach, what makes an excellent football player?
Excellent?
Yep.
Excellent. You're talking best, period.
Yep. Best period.
First of all, you're going to need a special dose of talent, and you're going to need to be tall. And any of those things will make it harder for you. But on the other hand, there's a lot of unbelievably talented athletes. You and I both can think of 3 examples right now easily that had all of those things going for them and didn't make it. So the last part of it is a great support system, an unbelievable work ethic, a love and passion for the game you're playing. And honestly, you're going to have some really good coaches to teach you what it takes and develop your techniques to get you from whatever your level you're on, going from, rec ball all the way up through the NFL, the Hall of Fame. You're going to need to run into some coaches that are going to do whatever it takes to develop you and make you the most you can be. And, basically Malcolm Rowe with 4.4 speed is what you need to be. So again, though, but doing this thing with Rico Walker, where now he's a national recruit, it just truly is about getting that first step, that first opportunity to leave a man like me and to go to that next level. And the first time they called and offered me, the University of South Carolina called and said, we want to offer this guy. I mean, I looked at the phone in amazement. And that's potential. So, basically we're talking about blessings from God, period, because you're going to need, there are very few, a lot fewer than you would expect of kids that had those blessings. You know, we always think about athletes and going through tough times and overcoming a bunch of obstacles, and that still happens. But those fellows are rare. You know, that's where you need to run into an idiot like me that's going to give you all the time that it takes and all the instruction I could possibly give you and the knowledge. And then the last thing is you just really have a stick to it deal. Sometime in a kid's life, he's going to have to sit on the bench and learn how to overcome and step up. And that's the biggest challenge going from high school to college. You know, most of those guys that have gone away to college, they never sat on the bench in their life. And they go to college, now they're redshirted and they're doing all this work, they're doing all this football. And on Saturday, if it's at home, you can dress and stand on the sidelines. But if we're on the road, buddy, you're still here. So again, you know, some people are really special and just take that next step, like Trevor Lawrence. And but you know, again, while Trevor was at Clemson starring for 4 years, and Sam Howell's at Carolina right now throwing the ball to Emory Simmons, you know, you got to have the opportunity. So if Sam Howell followed Trevor Lawrence, I guess he'd transfer or whatever. You know, so again, it's a lot of things coming together. It's a little bit like solving the Rubik's Cube, really. You got to really, all those things have to line up for you to be the talent you're talking about right now. That's an opinion of a guy who's coached. This is my 43rd year of 39 as a head coach and a head coach in a private public school. I did do 1 year in a private school, but that's a totally different game. So again, I had great opportunities to scout for the Canadian Football League and just to be an East Coast quarterback evaluator to a great friend of mine, Clayton Banner, who also passed away last year. And again, Clayton was about 20 years younger than me, but he didn't take care of himself post-player. And he really struggled with it, and it took him at an early age. So all I can tell all my guys out there is keep moving, walk, do whatever you can, but don't sit there and stare. You know, use it before you lose it. So, you know, I've coached 4 guys that actually made it to the NFL. None of them really were hugely successful. But, you know, they got a feel for it. It got me invited to the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp to see a kid from Lumberton named Jermaine Stevens, first round draft choice. I told you the story before from A&T. And then before his 3rd year, I watched him pass out in a pre-practice running test, and the head coach cut him before he came to. So, you know, that's NFL is brutal. Baseball, basketball, all other organized sports. I am not sure about hockey. That is, you know, growing up down south, I don't know as much about the structure, but if a baseball player signs a deal for $30 million, he's getting $30 million for the whole length of that contract now. I mean, that's what the highest paid. Giancarlo Stanton, I've seen him hit 27 homers. I'm a huge Yankee nut. And you know, he's making more every night than I make in a year. And you know, that money's guaranteed. In the NFL, if I sign you to a contract of 4 years and I give you guaranteed money, that's all you can count on. And you can bet your bottom dollar by the time you're at the end of that, they're looking for your replacement. They've already got it planned, and they talk about how they're going to let you slide out. You know, it's kind of like me as a coach. Hey, Coach Stone, he can retire now. How much longer are you going? I said, well, you know, my goal here was to stay here until I was 70, but I'll have to readjust that now. But, you know, I've told you what my goal is, to just keep helping and be the best, whatever I am. I'm the Stone Age, man. We carry a lot of members, and we're pretty powerful. So I'll always be a dad of a huge family. And you know, it's an amazing deal looking back on it. And the hardest part of it is it's just a few minutes ago. Just a few minutes ago that I was looking at you, and it was just a few minutes ago that I was looking at guys that are 54 years old play. And again, God's blessed me with a wonderful memory. There are very few players I see that I don't remember some form or fashion. So, again, I'm just a blessed old dude and trying to do the best I can.
Definitely are, Coach. This is last one of the hot topic questions. So, well, I don't know if this is something new. I mean, it seems like it's been going on forever, but so there's a video that's been surfacing around the internet world about this coach from the Cowboys that was chewing out these Cowboy players, professionals, and they're just taking it, yes sir, and the coach really giving in to them. So you got half the side like of the social media world, like parents and stuff, they're saying, hey, this is, too much, or let them try that with my kid and blah, blah, blah. Then you got the other side of the world where they're like, no, this is football. This is how it's supposed to be. So the question is, how do you handle a parent when they think you're being too tough on their kid?
If I can answer that question, I'd probably still be at Hickory. How do you do it?
Because that's at even the pro level.
Well,
it's
first
crazy.
thing you have to do is you have to talk to them. Unfortunately, so many parents, like you're talking about, will never talk to you. They'll go behind the scenes and do whatever they can to get their will done. When if they just come talk to me, we come to some type of resolution. Most of the time with parents, my first question is how much work did he put in all season? That's something you guys went through. There were some good players that wouldn't do it in all season. And the first day of practice, I told them they weren't welcome. If I'd have done that in Hickory, I wouldn't have had enough people to have a team, except maybe 11 or 12 guys. So that was the challenge that I didn't meet here. But getting back to your question, it's all about communication. Right now, I have a senior quarterback that holds for extra points. He's a scout team player. He thought this was going to be his year. We got a quarterback that started at Mallard Creek last year, transferred over, Zay Brower. He is a great talent. He's committed to A&T, and Gardner-Webb still trying to talk him out of that. They were there to watch him last night, and he's a dynamic player with great speed and a daggum cannon for an arm. Now, the intangible that I don't tell you about Brower is I've known him and his family for 4 or 5 years. He ball boyed on the sideline with Mykah during the Mallard Creek game. So there are 4 players there that have just followed Tripp, and their families followed him. And there's a set of brothers, the Coleman brothers. You'll see, if you see anything about Butler football, their mom Deidre posts a lot. One's a senior and one's a freshman. And the freshman's already bigger than the senior, but they start for us. And they relocated from Winston-Salem here to come be part of Tripp. Went to school with the mom, and there was a lot of trust there. And dang, she rented an apartment 2 blocks from the school, and she's there because she thinks that's where her son's best opportunities are going to be. And actually, the freshman's going to have every opportunity in the world. And the older guy's a good player. He's just more of a defensive end than a linebacker, stuck in a linebacker's body. So we're not really sure how that was going to work out. He's a talented kid. The Coleman brothers, check them out. But anyway, their mom, they'll come to you. What does he need to do? Is he working hard? Is he doing everything you ask? And if you answer yes to all those questions, and then still say, why isn't he playing? The hard part is that decision will affect another family and another player. I'll tell you where your son stands in my opinion of him. And I will do my best to try to get him to the next level. But again, that takes communication, and it also takes commitment from the family. So many times these people, these parents, they play other sports, and that's wonderful. But then in the summer, they're gone for a month, and they're playing some rec, and they're going to some camps that are in another sport. And then they come back and they wonder why you're ahead of their son when they watched in the 8th grade and he played over you. Well, the answer is hard work and player development. This quarterback we're talking about. He's a great competitor. He's smart as a whip. He probably knows the offense as good as the head coach does. Again, all offenses are about verbiage. And boy, I'm learning a new language. I need a Rosetta Stone. But anyway, he's backing up a guy, and he's really disappointed, and it's really a struggle for him right now. So I'm trying to help him through that. Meanwhile, his dad feeds us on Friday afternoon. So I'm in this case, I'm kind of glad I'm not the head coach, because he has challenged me. The dad has, and I've told him exactly what I've told you. I don't. In the end, I am the quarterback coach, and I have huge input in the offense in that position. If you were my quarterback coach, again, I'd help you make the right decision. The quarterback to me is the heartbeat of the team. Leadership, offensively, there's no doubt about it. But just being in the locker room and at meals, and the one I'm working on now with these quarterbacks I have here. I have a freshman quarterback named Zach Lawrence, just already ranked in his age group. He's disappointed he isn't starting on Friday night too, but he's having a good time lighting it up on JVs, and he's learning a lot, and he's got to handle his anxiety a little better as we move forward. But he's going to be a big time talent if he can achieve the 6'3" height that the doctors have predicted. He's probably 5'11" right now. So I'm coaching a great bunch of players, and you see the whole gamut there. Mm-hmm. I've got the supremely talented one, the one that's worked his back end off all for 5 years trying to be a great quarterback. And, I'm reprogramming him and some things that he's doing. He was taught that I think are wrong. Sorry. So, if you're going to screw up my way. So anyway, but he's progressing nicely. He's coming along. It's hard for a kid like that to come into a new setting, a new school, new team. So if I wasn't going through the same thing, I'd probably be more empathetic to him. But, so anyway, so like right there, all three parents I see almost daily. So again, as far as I'm concerned, it's about communication. And then, Alvin, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to learn as a head coach. I can't help them all. Mm-hmm. So, some people are going to turn away. Some people are going to resent being told the truth. But again, you know me, I've always been a straight shooter. But the whole deal right there is making sure that you provide the best experience for the young man. And between the quarterback coach, the position coach, there's got to be a strong relationship there, hopefully with both, but at least with one. So anyway, most of the time with parents like that, they've had kids that are making straight A's. They're doing everything that you'd want your son or daughter to do. They just don't have enough time, passion, and commitment to fit in what it takes to play at that particular school. So, there's some places where you go, hey, come in here. Glad to see you. That's it was, again, these kids at Hickory, they were dedicated, but they were dedicated to 4 different things. And football wasn't one of those top 4. So, it's got to be up there somewhere if you're going to play that game. Now, multi-sport athletes, they will go through the whole gamut, because they might not be quite as good at football as they were at baseball, or as they were at basketball, as they were at track. And that's why I like for kids to play other sports and wrestling, because you learn what some other folks go through. If you're going to be a successful player, you need to know what it takes to sit on the bench and hope that they blow them out so we can get in the game. And otherwise, your main role is to be the best scout team player you can be for 4 days and make sure the varsity's ready, and to make sure that the people in charge appreciate that effort and know what a vital role it is. Everybody has a role. Everybody that walks in that door with you with that team huddle, we all have a role to play. Unfortunately, some are more exciting than others, but it's all about knowing the commitment and play, and the feeling you have right now about your high school experience as a player with us. Unbelievably appreciative and thankful that you had somebody that would open the door and give you the chance and just give you the opportunity, but not only just giving it to you, trying to explain it and try to teach you what it takes. You know, you can throw opportunities out left and right and leave them laying there and see if the young fellows pick them up. Or you can make sure you pick them up and hand them to them. And then if they still drop them, they don't want it, then you, like I said, I can't help them all. So that's tough for me. I have many young folks that went to school with you or before you that a couple of them are just getting out of jail now because they made the wrong decisions, and I couldn't quite get them to come all the way in. Some of them were really good players for a year, but their lack of commitment, you know, they couldn't sustain. In rec ball, you don't have to go to school.
True that.
So again, it's being a total person. That's what coaches hope to develop. We hope to develop Alden Peoples and Junior Williams and Jannard Whitfields and Malcolm Rose. We want to be a help to those guys and to do all we can to give them opportunity. And then I've got several folks up here that look nothing like those fellas. Their only thing they share is a passion to be the best football, best athlete, best person they can be. So again, we get back to the opportunities that I told you about. But you know, as far as what's going on with the kids you went to school with and the kids you followed, those are of great interest to me. I like to keep up with all of you that are willing, and you wouldn't believe how many I actually still communicate with. And I've got a coach at Reagan that played for me at West Forsyth, and his whole staff were my guys at West Forsyth. He's got every coach he has but one played for me at West Forsyth, and they've been there for a while. And there are a couple other examples of that, but you know, that's a little boring. All I'm telling you about is right now, I'm really worried about a young man that's probably 53 years old that I coached. He was a state championship pitcher in 1986, and he had a stroke this week. And, you know, so that is both the pleasure and the curse of aging. Is you see so many people that you love to care for, and you see so many parents have to bury their children, and that's the biggest heartbreak that I have watching a couple, watching a mom, watching a dad, a grandma, whatever the relationship is, Uncle Hunt, former head coach. When we go to their services, that's like I said, that's kind of heartbreaking.
Definitely is, and I'll be keeping in my thoughts and prayers because the health is, you know, it's a crazy thing, it's a crazy battle, especially in these times with everything going on with COVID and other things. So definitely prayers up for him.
So, speaking about Byrd, Coach Clanton is he's been fighting small cell lung cancer for a few years now, and he seemed to be in pretty good shape and good spirits when I saw him up here. And you know, he's fighting a battle that's tougher than anything I've ever been through. So I just want to throw that out there. I know so many of our guys that so many of our Eagles are big fans of Curtis Clanton, and they should be. I'm a big fan of Curtis Clanton, and I'm a big fan of Coach Kuzan. I'm a big fan of Coach Lynn. I'm a big fan of all those fellows that came in there and helped us mentor you. You know, John Hoskins right now, that's the biggest waste that's going on in Fayetteville. This Bird's not taking advantage of him being a pastor in that community, being a former player, being a former coach, wanting to go to work there, and they won't give him the opportunity. And, you know, they wonder now why they aren't being more successful. You don't have that community connection. It's going to be tough, you know. Again, you talk about the parents. When I coached with you guys, the parents usually knew their position coach because they were members of the community. Yep. And that's rare. So, you know, most of the time, those problems you're talking about with problem parents between communications with, say, Coach Lynn and wide receivers family, and then him talking to me about it and going back and telling them straight up, this is the way it is right now. You can talk to, he called me Coach Stone, but maybe Russell. He said, you can talk to him if you're close enough friend, if I can't satisfy you. And, but heck, man, I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to everybody that's a fan of your podcast. If you're not going to talk to people, you need to quit.
Definitely. And shout out to all the Byrd staff that you just mentioned. And even John, I mean, boy, I remember being a player. He used to put me through so much in a good way, though. Like, he was just challenging me, always wanted me to be better. One-on-one drills to shoot. Lord, good God. I still never beat him. That shoot drill.
Yeah, I'm right with you. John is a great success story that really was replicated many times at Byrd. We had a fella that hadn't played before really in his life and was willing to give the game a try and to do it. And then he's experienced both success and being replaced by a bigger, more talented player. He went through all that in one season. He found a role. He stayed with it. He fell in love with the game. He fell in love with what it did for him as a young man, just as you have. And now he wants to share that with his community. And, he and his grandfather there are just huge pillars in that Byrd community.
I hope he gets the opportunity because, I mean, he taught me a lot about offensive line, like guard. I remember, of course, Coach Clinton, definitely did too, of course. But just from a player, player and watch him, he taught me a lot because when I came to play for you guys, I came from Western Hornet where I was on the defensive side as a DN, so I know nothing about offense. And I just remember, one time you joked to me when he was cracking my back, and he was like, "You got one of those big old Western Hornet backs." But John, yeah, he paid attention to detail. He anytime I needed any advice, he was there. Could never beat him in a one-on-one drill. So who knows? Maybe one day, John. No, it's fine.
Boy, John, he will mention that every time he sees you.
Definitely.
But again, I've talked to the Byrd coaches, and they're going at it. And Coach Huey talked to me about, what did you do? And I told him the people that worked for him, and now none of them are working for him. So I don't know if that is an administrative problem. I don't know if he found better people, better coaches, more knowledgeable, but he couldn't find people that will develop the total player more than any of those men that worked with me. And the other part about all of them is they were willing to learn. I mean, they were willing to accept that, hey, I don't know it all. They'd go with me to some clinics. Tripp would meet with those guys for hours. And, he really developed a great staff with himself on the defensive side. And he's done that wherever he's gone. So apparently he's got it.
He definitely does. Shout out to you, Coach Tripp, when you see this. Clinton, everyone. Coach, thanks again for being a part of the People's Choice podcast from episode 1 to episode 36 now. It's been a year anniversary.
Yeah, I'll see you next year, God willing, and we'll do this again. And God bless you for what you're doing. Again, you don't know you don't know how many people you affect. Neither do I, because we put ourselves out there. And, as long as we're willing to put ourselves out there and know that some people are going to love it and most are going to like it and some are going to hate it. And some of them are going to try to destroy you from whichever angle they got. But again, like I told you earlier, that's their problem. That's not yours. That's not mine. Should never be a factor in any decision you make.
Definitely. Amen. Thank you, Coach. Where can all my peeps find you at if they want to reach out to you on social media?
Oh, heck yeah.
Just Facebook, Coach. Just are you on Facebook or just Facebook or anywhere else?
I do Messenger. I do a little bit of the orange thing. Everybody's on Twitter. I don't post on Twitter much. I do that LinkedIn network, but that's more of an old folks thing. But yeah, I'm an accomplished Facebook Messenger guy. I can actually handle that. And but I'll be honest with you. I've in the time we're in, I've backed off quite a bit. just because of the political climate right here. And I didn't want to lose friends. So I just followed them for a while and let them rage on about whatever issue they want to roll with. And, I wanted to get back to some positive things, and the best thing that I could do for my mental health and actually for folks like you was, I can't say anything nice to you, so I'm going to shut up.
That's definitely important, that mental health, for real. And I'm glad, you're back doing what you love. Of course, with football, you got a game coming up next week. Just had one. I know before we even talked, you talking about you was just watching film. So much success to you, Coach.
I still don't sleep at night until I've watched the film and I've read it. So you would think after 42 years, 42, 43, you would move on. But I just have to deprogram and come back to the real world, get out of the competitive world. So, but I enjoy that as much as I do anything. I think the key thing missing right now with some folks like me is you got to understand there's a lot of things a young man can be doing out there, and if you're not careful, you'll give him a reason to go do them rather than be a part of something that's going to be fruitful, successful, and really help his development as a young man. So sending them to college is a great thrill of mine, but seeing you here right now is just as big as any of them.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Any last words you want to give to the peeps?
We'll see you next year. Check out those Butler Bulldogs. We lost two big kids last night, but I'm sure Tripp can overcome it. There were one defense, one offensive lineman, but keep up with us. And thanks again. I had the Richmond County people reached out to me when they played here and asked me, but I turned it down. So you have to know that your podcast is much more important than that Friday night football show they did.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Coach. Thanks again. Hey. Much success to you. Man, great. Have a great season. Hopefully another championship, adds to collection.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, those fellas were standing behind Mykah.
Uh-huh.
They're Stone Age Eagles, baby.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I take in pride is being a Stone Age Eagle as well. Thanks again, Coach. I love you, man. You take care.
See you soon.
Enjoy some college football. I know how much you love
that. Yeah, I'm headed that way. I hope for no roadblocks.
All right, Coach.
Hey, God bless all of you. And to all my former guys, thanks for keeping up with me and staying in contact with me. And I see you. I see you, family men you become. I see how you take care of your families. And you know how much I emphasize that when I coach you fellas. So see you next year.
Definitely, Coach. You have a good one.